Unmute the mic, please. Can you unmute the microphone, Laura, please?
Here we go. The media is so important to us to get the message back to our citizens. So thank you all. I really do appreciate you all being here. So, you know, we've been talking about that the process was too short. The process was rushed. Okay, we're going to find out that it's probably totally the opposite. And I wouldn't say probably, it was totally the opposite. And we've had a very transparent process. If you remember back in February, City Council terminated the contract of former City Manager Tommy Gonzalez. Less than 30 days or so after that, we started the process. And I'm going to give you a handout. And in this handout, you'll see the full timeline till today. And I think that's very important for y'all to be able to see. You know, there's been a lot of criticism. People talk about lame duck. So in the middle of City Council, I said, all right, Ms. Neiman, explain to me, what are we trying to say about lame duck? So she, the city attorney said that lame duck starts the day of the election, November 5th. We're not November 5th. We were elected to represent the city of El Paso. We were elected to represent the citizens and to make major decisions to the end of the year. Now, you don't do board appointments, you don't do commissions, but other than that, you continue to make appointments. Now, you all are aware that it's important to continue to run the city. It's important to continue to do major decisions. And that's what we're doing. That's what we'll continue to do. So, you know, I'm tired of hearing that it was rushed. I'm really tired of hearing that we're in lame duck session, because none of the above. What we are is in a very transparent process of making sure that, I even heard a new one today when I was watching the news. I won't say what station, but I was watching the news today, and someone made a statement that this is not the way corporate America would handle it. That's a correct statement. Corporate America wouldn't go out and get input from the public. Corporate America would not go out and have citizen panels. Corporate America would do what? They'd go out and handle. They'd go out and hire somebody and bring them in without any input. They wouldn't go talk to any other team members. They'd go out and hire somebody. So if someone thinks that this is corporate America and the process should be that way, they're 100% mistaken. This is a process. We represent the citizens of the city of El Paso, and we want to do a process that's fully transparent. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to, because I think this form that I'll give you all is probably the form that really says the most of it. And, you know, we talk about, and I'm going to talk one more thing. We talked about lame duck. We talked that, if you all remember, back in October 7th, 2022, City Council voted on a contract extension for then City Manager Tommy Gonzalez, and additional funding and a contract extension, which was less than 30 days prior to an election. So you still have to make those type of decisions. You still have to continue to run the city. So those are examples, and you'll have all these in the hand that I'm giving you. But I'm going to start, and this will take a little while, so I hope you all have plenty of film. But on March 28, 2023, Council voted unanimously to prepare an RFP to select an executive recruiting firm. Okay, so March 28, 2023. April 7, 2023, and April 18, 2023, RFP advertisements was placed. April 9, 2023, posted recruitment on city website. April 26, 2023, all RFP bids are due. June 29, 2023, Colonel Weston took over as city manager. So again, somebody went on and they've been all over saying, it's been more than 2 years since Mr. Gonzalez left and we've had an interim city manager. It's been a little over a year. And then there's been statements that said, we don't have a city manager. The city's been without a city manager for 2 years. Again, false statements. And those false statements really hurt the public as they hear this and they keep hearing this. And so, do we have a city manager? Absolutely. Between the city manager and your 4 candidates that are local candidates that are running our city, you do know that this is the 2nd year in a row we'll have no new revenue on taxes. That's never happened before in the city. Would you be able to do that without a city manager? Would you be able to do that without team leadership? Absolutely not. And that's where, it leads me to the 4 candidates that we have that were selected from almost 100 people that applied. And, was all 100 of them qualified? Would all 100 of them be a city manager somewhere? Absolutely not. But people were interested in coming to the city of El Paso because of the great momentum, the great things that are happening within the city. So we had over 100 candidates, and then Tilly Baker decided that, Baker Tilly decided to narrow it down to 14, and every city council member got to look at the final 14. They had to look at their email to be able to do this. So then they looked at the final 14, they looked at the application, they had a video on there, and we looked at it, and then you got to pick your top 5. Would be 4 going forward and 1 being an alternate. So that's what happened. So it was full involvement by council. You couldn't have done it if you weren't aware, if you didn't open your email. And then you picked 2 citizen advisory people to be on the panels, and that happened. So it's been a very transparent. So I looked at the scoring, but I didn't look at any names. I didn't look at who it was. And I noticed that 7 out of 9 of the city council members had either 3 or 4 of the top 4 in their picks. What does that mean? That they looked at the top, they looked and see who was the best, and then independently picked the ones they felt was going to move forward to be candidates. That's democracy. That's what you ask for. You ask for an independent voice. You don't ask for us to be in a room and start negotiating. Let me convince you I like this person better. Let me convince you this. This is democracy. Pick the ones you want, and then let's take them out and allow the citizens to talk to them. So we did that. And back in March, we ended up having a survey done by the community. We gave those questions back after they looked at the survey. We gave those questions to the panels yesterday and said, these are the questions that were asked by the community. We want these questions asked of the 4 finalists, and this is how, and then give us your input of what you think and how they'll operate and run the city. And that's how it went. This is, saying backroom deals. Really? Democracy at its best, but yet it's a backroom deal? No. Now back about back in February, I said, you know what we ought to do? We ought to look in our backyard. We ought to look at our local talent first. And then if we don't find anybody, if we don't feel we have anybody qualified, then let's go out and spend the money to hire a search firm. Let's go out and spend the $40,000 to $50,000 that we just spent to determine that the top 4 were sitting in our own backyard. I keep hearing people go, oh, you know what? The brain drain. And I'm going, I don't want to hear that anymore. But yeah, they're going, why didn't we pick someone from out of town? Because El Paso has the talent. We compete with any city in the country. We have the people that will continue to move our city forward. So, I don't want to keep hearing that, oh, God, the brain drain, yet why didn't we pick someone from out of town? We went that route, by the way. We went that route twice. It's time we stayed local. And it's time we look in our own backyard. And we have 4 really capable candidates that can move our city forward. I actually apologized to them for some of the things that had been said, some of the things they had to read, because I didn't want to diminish their talent and them wanting to move our city forward based on some of the false statements that continue to be made. Some people that are running for office will go on Facebook and make statements like that it's been over 2 years, that we don't have a city manager. That's nothing further from the truth. And I think you guys will agree. When you look at this timeline, here's the timeline. Let me show you this timeline. This is how much time we spent since March of 2023. These are the meetings. This is the community meetings. This is the outreach we made. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to rush the process. So March to today, it's been 17 months, 18 months since we started the process. I don't think that was lame duck time either. So I'm very, very happy to hear that we have 4 wonderful candidates. And then we had editorials that some of y'all printed and some of y'all showed, that showed that some was from former city employees, leaders from the city, that talked about that this was not the right process. One of them, when they left the city with a 9-day fund balance. If you know what a fund balance is if something goes wrong, you have to have an operating balance for a city. And normal fund balance is between 80 and 90 days. Right now we're at 81 days. But when this person left, we were at 9 days. One bad week, we would have bankrupted the city. This person decided that it was a good idea to demolish City Hall, you know? So I can tell you that we have really had a very transparent process. It's unfortunate that the people that wrote these editorials, they have given these comments and have really been really negative about this great process. Guess how many of them, and you all are more than welcome to answer, how many of them showed up to the public meetings? The 4 public meetings, the meetings to meet the candidates, to talk to the candidates one-on-one, find out what they want, how they're going to lead the city. If your answer was 0, you were correct. And that's embarrassing to our community, that they'd rather go out and beat the system up through the media, through editorials, than to go out and talk to the people. I didn't hear from any of them. To go out and find out how they can lead the city forward. And if I sound a little frustrated, I am, because we got 4 great people that don't deserve this type of treatment. We got 4 great people that one of them will lead our city forward. And you know, and I said this to them, and I said, I want to apologize to you all today, but we wouldn't be going through this process if Colonel Weston had taken the job. But he did a great job, and I'm very, very thankful to the job he's done. Like I said, we've never, ever had 2 years of no new revenue, but yet this is the 2nd year in a row. And this is because when we run for office, everybody says we're going to lower taxes, we're going to do this. We didn't talk about it, we did it. But we couldn't have done it with the 4 people that are running that applied for city manager and Colonel Weston. There's no way we could have done it without them. They're the ones that found ways to continue to have public safety. They're the ones that continued to make sure we had a quality of life. They're the ones that made sure that when we bought these police cars, these ambulances, these fire trucks, we did it with one-time money, that's cash. Instead of financing a police car for 25 years, where we all know, and I don't know a lot about cars, but I think that we all know that they don't last 25 years. So for us to go finance them for 25 years and think they're going to last for 25 years is not reality. But we bought them, we paid cash for them. We're going to continue to build the police department. We're going to continue to have academies for police and fire. And you know why? Because this is what we committed to our community. Public safety number 1. Our community is number 1. But yet we can do it with no new revenue and roll back taxes. So I'm very thankful that these people decided to apply, and they rose to the top from within 100 people. And I had a lot of notes. I don't read them because I get very passionate and frustrated when people want to criticize the system, but yet they don't want to be part of the solution. They didn't go out and talk to them. They didn't go out and find out what they were about and why they applied and why they got picked. Instead, they'd rather just criticize and talk about that it went too fast. I want you all to look at this list, and I want you to talk about it with your listeners, your readers, because it's going to be important they see that it was far from being a rushed process, but it was a very transparent and a democratic process. And again, it's not corporate America, so we thought we'd go ahead and include our community, and we did a great job. And with that, again, I thank you all for being here. And of course, you have the first question. Yes, ma'am. And you got to speak up.
I'll wait for the
And we'll pass these
Is
out
it-
after we
can-
get
is it
done.
on?
So
Yeah.
just so you all pay attention over here instead of reading.
Mayor, so Monday will be the meeting where you guys interview the candidates in executive session, finalists. Can you explain how that process will go? From what I understood of the releases, there will also be a decision made after that executive session? Does that mean there's already a contract in place?
That is what we're looking forward to doing, and we're going to interview all 4 candidates as a team. But one of the things we're going to share the questions that were shared by the community, so everybody can look at them and they can ask any of those questions they want, or they can ask their own. But it's going to be really important that everybody asks the same question to all 4 candidates for fairness and to make sure that everybody's treated the same way. But at the end of the day, we're hoping that we'll be able to come out and pick and announce our new city manager.
Is there a preliminary contract or a draft contract already established if you guys do in fact?
Well, we do have Ms. Lee Ring, who's our outside attorney that helped us with contracts and with the city attorney contract, with the city manager's contract, and she'll be there. But when it was posted between 325 and 375. So we know that that's the range that when you applied for the job, you knew that was going to be the range. Brianna
So-
Pettis, how are you?
Good, thank you so much. So we spoke with Cindy Conroy, who was part of the city manager selection committee. She had concerns about the process, and she said that she was asked to join the committee, and then the next day, the 4 finalists were announced. So why wasn't the committee a part of the process of selecting the 4 finalists?
Okay, the job for what we were asking for our Citizens Advisory Group is to help us interview the 4 finalists, not to pick the city manager, not to go over the 100 people that applied. That was Baker Tilly's job. Baker Tilly was to narrow it down, and then City Council, who is the ultimate decision on this, was to pick the top 4. And then about a month ago, that all the City Council members, including myself, were asked to pick 2 people from the citizens group, and then they were going to interview the 4 finalists. So maybe she didn't quite understand what the criteria was, but you were going to 4 finalists, so you could see who the city was going to have bring forward, and we would pick one from there. And yeah, so this is, and I know she made that comment of corporate America. Again, this is a better process. This is an open process. This is a process, a very inclusive process of our community, our stakeholders, and our citizens. Anyone else? Wait, you got?
Hi, Mayor.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How about you?
Fine, thank you.
I wanted to ask where the city is at with the process in the city manager selection process. Did the panels already speak with the 4 finalists yet, or where is the city at now?
I didn't hear, I'm sorry. The committee what? Yes, yesterday, the committees, there was 2 committees. One met up here, and the other one met downstairs in executive session. And they each interviewed each candidate for 45 minutes, and all candidates had the same question. And at the end of the day, they got a score sheet, and they scored how they felt they did, how they answered every question that was asked of them, and then that'll be presented to council. They may even send out to them sometime today, I think. But yeah, they got to meet them, they got to talk to them, they got to interview them, and then they made their determination based on the interview that they had. And that, we talk about processes, and you asked a little bit about process. I'll probably go back a little bit and say that there's a lot of different processes, but didn't mean one is right and one is wrong. This is the process that was picked and voted upon. This is the process that Baker Tilly said, this is what we're going to do. And it doesn't mean that process is the only right process. There's so many different processes. But one of the things you want to make sure that you make sure democracy does its job and everybody has an independent voice. And not like someone said, backroom deal. There is no backroom deal. I can tell you that I don't know who voted for who. I did have one council member tell me who they voted for, and they didn't need to do that, but they did that. But other than that, I have no idea who voted for who, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Hello, Mayor. When the process started, and you already mentioned it, what would your message be to those people who were advocating for an external hire? Can you elaborate more on the importance of going local? And when Baker Tilly was hired, was the goal to stay local from the beginning?
I don't think I could be more adamant about, we picked the 4 best candidates, the candidates that really rose to the top from 100 people. We didn't know who was going to pick who. We didn't know that we were going to pick the top 4. And, you know, looking at the thing, I said, out of the 7 out of the 9 picked 3 or 4 of the top finalists in their pick, which means that they looked at value of the city team members, somebody that knows the city, understands the city, has lived through the process, and wants to continue a great process that's going on today, and wants to make sure they can lead the city. It's you know, it's a lot of work. If you look at, there's 7,000 team members roughly that work for the city, and this is your job as a city manager, is to work for the city council. That's who you answer to. That's your boss. But also make sure that you lead the 7,000 team members through your deputy city managers and through your department managers to make sure that you give them a good quality place to work at. So they could have picked anybody, and they picked local. So like I said, I can tell you today that our candidates and the people that work for the city of El Paso are the best candidates out there, and we'll can put them up against any city and we'll still be #1. There's no doubt in my mind. And this was an independent vote and democracy at its best.
Back to Monday. How long will you be spending with each of the candidates? And is one interview between the mayor and council and each of the finalists enough time to then come ahead and make a decision outside of that executive session?
Well, the good thing is most of them know these candidates, seriously, and that's something that's really important. But yeah, it'll be plenty of time. And, you know, we're not putting a time limit on it. We're not saying there's going to be a time limit and we're only going to talk to them for 5 minutes and then that's it, and then they're going to go out. You know, this is not, when we talk about call to the public, you get 3 minutes. We're going to talk to them. We're going to allow them to talk and answer. But you know, we don't want one of them to take control and be there and the other one not get that time. But we don't have a time limit. We're not going to say that we're going to be out in 2-3 hours. We'll be here as long as it takes for us to give them a fair opportunity to tell us why they're going to be the best city manager to lead the city in the future. Hold on. Anyone else?
It's related.
What, follow up?
What if the council, or what if there's not a majority vote for either of the 4 finalists?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I really believe that at the end of the day, that we'll see value in all of them, there's no doubt. And I think that if we pick any of them, we've made the right choice. So I really believe that we hopefully will come out with a candidate moving forward. And based on the timeline that we had given council originally, it's set to that new city manager will take office on September 3rd. Brianna?
Yes. Quick question. Why wasn't the media allowed to ask one-on-one questions with the 4 finalists during their meet and greets?
You all were. And when we did the first press conference, we asked the media to submit questions that would be, just like we did with the panels with a citizens group, submit questions. So we asked that, and we did not get one question from the media. So we did ask, and we did want, and as I started my talk today, media is so important, and you guys really are. You guys are so important for us to get our message across. So I think it's important for you all to be part of the process, and I was a little surprised we didn't get any questions, because I think that it would have been good to have some. And again, why did we do questions? Because we want to make sure everybody gets a fair opportunity to answer the same question. Después. Qué bueno, porque no hablo ni una palabra de español. No, ya sé. Yes, ma'am. And, okay, I want to thank you all.
Hello again.
Your name, please?
You yourself brought up the issue that people had been mentioning, the lame duck concern, and there is the November election coming up. Now, granted, the lame duck doesn't start until the election. Some people have still been concerned that with so many potential new mayor and 5 city rep seats up, that why wouldn't you guys just allow for that new council?
I'll give you 2 excellent answers. Number 1 is that we were elected to serve for 4 years, not for 3.5 years, not for 3 years and 7 months. We were elected to serve for 4 years. And number 2 is, I've been in office 8 years. I understand city government. I've been here and understand what it takes for a city manager to lead our city, for somebody to move forward. A lot of the city, you know, every 2 years you have an election for 4 seats. Remember, we started this March of 2023. So would you say that if you start a couple months after the election and then all of a sudden 18 months from then you have an election coming up, you go, well, you better stop the process, you can't do it. No, we were really thorough. We really wanted, and you'll see this, when you see this, you're gonna see that really transparent and very open and not a rush process. But I would rather have a mayor and a council that's worked with every one of them, that's worked with the process, and you may have somebody that's never been in office. You want them to pick your next city manager? I wouldn't. Thank you all. And again, thank you, because you all are really, really important to the process, and I really believe that.